I've had this decline in booking.
What do I want and how can I get that?
I actually feel like I'm starting right from scratch.
We are talking high
yeah.
level sales here, but I think you're ready for it. So
Okay.
tell me all the things. What's happening with business?
Oh my goodness. Okay. So I have been a photographer for a long, long time, like a couple of decades, kind of long time.
Nice.
And I've kind of gone through the whole gamut of things. So when I started shooting, I was getting married, so I was shooting weddings, and then I was having babies, and I was, it kind of went along my lifeline. And then about 15 years ago was sort of when I was reawakened to the life of boudoir, and that just became my primary focus. And I just felt so passionate about empowering women in that vicinity, like in that way. So with that, sometimes I would continue to do, branding for them because it's still a way of empowering them, but it wasn't something that I focused on or that I shared or I was trying to market to. But the boudoir has sort of shifted. I feel, and it's been a little bit more challenging to consistently fill my books. So I'm at the part where I'm still having clients like randomly asking me if I'll do branding, or like yesterday I did a grad student with her and her horse and her prom dress, and it was
nice.
like it was beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's this natural, organic way that there is such a need for this that there's so much potential for me to tap into that market. And I opened a space in the downtown core of my town.
Nice.
And this community doesn't actually have like a high-end luxury portrait photographer in the city at all.
Oh my God, amazing. Blue ocean.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah. So the struggle for me is that I've had this decline in booking. The cost of goods went up for me because my space is more expensive. And then my bookings went down. And then now I'm sort of in that flux of like panic. But I know that there's this incredible need and I want to be able to serve the community. And now I'm sort of going, oh my goodness, there's 1,800 ways of approaching it. And then I saw your post and I was like, oh, the universe is so kind to me.
The universe said, how can we help you? Perfect. Okay.
Yeah, totally.
I mean,
totally.
I'm not worried about any of this. I don't think you should be either, because I would recommend to anybody at any stage in business, open up your business, don't niche down, be a portrait generalist, serve more needs. And the fact that you came to that decision on your own is fabulous. And then the thing that I really love about it is that you're not new. You've been decades in business. You have, I mean, if you were to put a number on it, how many clients would you say you've served since you've been in business?
Oh, thousands.
Thousands.
Yeah.
Thousands of people. So all you have to do is turn on that tap. If you just start getting the word out with intention, with passion, and you just start saying, hey guys, I'm open for business, ready to serve your needs with XYZ, you will have clients instantly. People have probably been more in the background than you know of, waiting for this opportunity, because once you have that no trust like factor, then they're going to be like, oh, well, you're my girl. You're my girl. Now I get to do this with you. Awesome. And the other thing I find is that when you work with people, I mean, as a boudoir specialist, people aren't going to do boudoir every year. Like probably your best clients, they do boudoir. How frequently would you say?
Yeah, I think my repeat offenders come like every 2 to 5 years.
2 to 5. So even your best clients are like best case scenario every 2 years, and more likely every 5 years. But like what I do is as a portrait generalist, I might have someone come in and do boudoir year 1, branding year 2, senior portraits for their kid year 3, couples portraits year 4, family year 5, and then before you know it, that senior is getting married, we'll do wedding, and then the whole cycle repeats. So if you can do more for your clients, you can have them coming back again and again and again. And, this is what we call in business having different verticals. When you have vertical line extensions that people can come back to you for more reasons, these will be your very best clients now giving you repeat opportunities to work with you. And repeat clients also spend statistically far better than brand new clients. So this is a win in every way possible.
Okay. So now that I'm sort of branching out, so right now I've just been sort of using my boudoir price list loosely.
Uh-huh.
But as I'm sort of opening myself up to more opportunities with the portraits,
Yeah.
am I going to continue that pricing, or should I have something that's specific? Because boudoir is typically more album based.
Definitely.
Or just digital. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's a different need. It's not wall art.
Yes.
And then for branding as well, like that is specifically digital is what they think they need.
Yes.
So what would you suggest for different price lists and how to approach my clients in that capacity?
Okay, well, to clarify, I'm saying yes, I'm agreeing with you, only because I'm saying, yes, I understand you would think that. But I'm going to take a second to say that's not true. It is not true that a boudoir client doesn't want wall art. It is not true that a branding client doesn't want wall art. Now, if you ask them, would you like wall art? They're going to tell you no. Because on my discovery phone calls, I always ask, are you a wall art person? Are you an album person? And no one ever says, I'm a wall art person. Please come sell me wall art. Nobody says that. Like, if they do, I'm like, hallelujah, this is the best client ever. But it's so rare. It's like 1 out of 100 clients will say, please sell me wall art. And yet, 90% of my clients buy wall art. And that goes across every genre. So whether it's branding, boudoir, whatever it is, my clients, 90% of them buy wall art. So the first thing I would say is that as you start opening up to new genres, the best thing you can do is to have a price list that works for every genre. Because what you don't want to do is you don't want to have a price list that, okay, everything is structured for boudoir and those clients love albums and you think they don't love wall art. And so you have everything set up that way. And then you move to a different genre and you discover, wait a second, now I'm working with families. Families do value wall art. Oh, now that I'm working branding clients value digital. So you don't want to have a different price list for every genre you serve because it's going to end up definitely confusing you and 100% confusing your clients. Because now your clients, they're like, wait, I don't get it. Like, can I do what I did last time? And, ooh, I don't think I want what I did. It's very confusing. So you want to have one price list that works universally with every genre. And then that way, when you have the opportunity to serve that client again, and they say, well, how much does this cost? You say, oh, well, remember how we did last time? You'll probably do something like that again. And they're like, okay. That's comfortable. We know how we spend with you. It's comfortable. They just want to be in the right range. So the range has to be set. The value has to be established. And no, it shouldn't be different for different things. What I mean by that is that you probably know from being in the group that my portraits are priced at $250 per image. Now, it's $250 if they get a print. It's $250 if they get a digital. It's $250 if they get a print and digital or one or the other. I don't care. I just make it universal pricing so that they can come to me and get whatever is their need and their priority. They can get that need served and I can get the profit that I anticipate so that I can run my business smoothly across different genres. So you're going to need that universal feeling. You're going to need the ability to tap into whatever product that client will value. So you need enough flexibility that you can serve up what they need. But I also do want to encourage you to open your mindset that this genre only wants this, that genre only wants that, and consider that maybe every genre wants everything, because that's very true. People do want different products. They want products that make them happy. And in my opinion, a product that's going to make someone happy is going to be something that reminds them how worthy and loved and beautiful they are. And that, in my book, is wall art. So I'm always selling wall art.
Yeah, for sure. So so in my case, what would you suggest, like when I'm like tapping back in, because I already do have a client base that I can approach with this opportunity.
Yeah.
Am I trying to have like a low barrier to get them in, like bums on seats kind of thing, and then they can purchase what they love after? Like, how do you suggest I go about that? Or am I just like running it as is, and this is just a new offer, and this is what the price is?
So if I were in your shoes, first things first, I would get the foundation set. So have a price list that will work for all genres. Second thing I would do is once the price list and the sales process is established, then I would start the marketing by doing this. Start with a list of who would be your dream clients that you'd like to work with again. And it should be really easy to make a list, 10, 20 people, maybe even more. And I would start with those people. If they're your favorite people, they're going to be the people who are naturally going to be evangelists about you anyway. So I would start with them with a zero barrier to entry. Like we say, if you're underbooked, you want to lower that barrier to entry. If you're overbooked, you want to raise the barrier to entry. So in terms of these genres, you are underbooked because you don't have people coming in for senior sessions and branding sessions on the regular right now. So lowering that barrier down to the floor and saying, hey, I would love to try this with you. Come in and be my client. Let me gift you the session. And then they can come in and try before they buy. And they're going to love it. Of course, they're going to love it because they love you. They've already had a great experience with you. And now they get to try something new with you.
So with the price guide, because like right now I have a la carte and then I have collections.
Yes.
And is that something that is, that works, or should I just have the individual images and then they have the option for wall art?
Okay, so the way that I do it, and this is something you may not have because you don't have Level Up right now, correct?
I do not yet, no.
You do not yet. I like how you said yet. Good job. Okay, so that might be the next thing to invest in. But the way that I do it is I think of it as sneaky packages because I don't like packages per se. I don't like the idea of packaging things up. And the reason why is because we look at sales psychology that consumers normally experience. So let's say I was to buy at Bath & Body Works. Bath & Body Works is a mid-tier brand and mid-market, it's kind of dying a slow, maybe even quick death. It's not in a good place right now. So people are either looking at the bottom, like Walmart, Amazon, or they're looking at the top, luxury. And in this middle world, we have the middle class, mid-market consumption lane. And what that looks like is everything is packaged up. It's about like, hey, if you buy 3 body sprays, we're going to give you 2 free. So that's what you see in a package type mindset. It's like it's throwing things in, it's giving that value in a gimmicky way. And I don't want that for my clients. I don't want my clients to have the perception that there are gimmicks at play here. I just want them to be thinking about what do I want and how can I get that? So my product list looks a la carte. It looks like, do you want an album? Do you want wall art? Do you want a folio box, etc.? Do you want digitals? These are all questions that they might have in their mind. But the reason why I call it sneaky packages is because I have structured it so that I know where the profit is landing. And I know where can I put in plan generosity. If a client buys that's at this level, I can sneak a couple extra and really make it a winning purchase for them. So everything is premeditated and it's pre-planned. It's the sneaky packages. But to a client's point of view, it is very much, I would like this, good, you can get that. You would like this, good, you can get that. So it's a la carte on the surface, but it's packaged beneath the surface.
Okay.
So that's what I'd recommend, having the ability to, like, for example, here's what I would not do. And this is very typical in the boudoir world. There's a lot of educators that do advocate packages. And the reason why they advocate packages is because most of us come from middle class. Most of us are very comfortable in a packaged gimmick pricing type place. We are not often stopping at Saks Fifth Avenue or buying a Maserati where every feature is a la carte and you add on what you wish. So if you're in that package world, a lot of boudoir educators will say, okay, let's have package 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And when you're in package 5, it's $10,000 and it includes album, X number of digitals, and the wall art. And so most people will shy away from that because they're telling themselves, oh, I don't want wall art. And oh, also that's the highest thing. And I'm not going to be a chump. I'm not going to buy the most expensive thing. So they will talk themselves out of the $10,000 purchase into the next tier. And let's call it $7,500. So now they're thinking, okay, I'm a good consumer. I didn't spend foolishly. I didn't need the wall art anyway. I ruled that out. And here's the photographer saying, well, I feel good about a $7,500 sale. So both people walk away feeling as if they've won. But I will tell you, I don't think either party won on the maximum level. Because meanwhile, if the photographer embraced a la carte and knew how to sell it, they could have really sold to the dreams that the client is not expressing. They could have sold that wall art and positioned it as let's design this for you. And look at it's right over here. And I've created this for you custom. Isn't it beautiful? And meanwhile, the client can have more of what they love and open up their dreams as well and be able to create something that feels really custom and true for them. It's not that they're being forced into a package. It's that they're creating their dreams and they're paying for what they wish. So maybe if the photographer had opened it up and created an a la carte structure, which does require you to be a more gifted guide, a more gifted service and sales professional, that $7,500 sale might have been a $15,000 sale. So bottom line, break apart the package, think about it as the appearance and structure of a la carte, but do build your own internal structure into things so that you know where the profit is heading.
Right.
So we are talking high level sales here, but I think you're ready for it.
Yes. And yes, I am. Yes. It's one of those things, right? Like you throw the spaghetti at the wall and you see what sticks, and then you get into this like, oh, I had one successful year, so I'm just going to continue to do that, and then the climate change and things change and costs change, and then you kind of scramble, and then your mindset gets into that funky like, what am I going to do now? So I think and I know that I have great clients. For me, my fear is like putting in all the effort of the plan of the shoot without having the, a preconceived idea of what they want to invest in, and then they only invest in like the bare minimum. So is there a way to prevent that? Or
Absolutely.
Is that just from educating them for consultations? Like how would you suggest that I go about so that I'm not giving everybody the $15,000 experience when some of them are only going to invest $1,000?
Yes. I mean, it's perfect. What you're circling around here is how do I get a commitment from my client so that we both know we're heading towards the right destination? Because I also think, the way I phrase it is it's kind of like the I won't hate you if you won't hate me, because you need it to be that you understand, you as the photographer and the business owner understand, I'm going to put in a lot of time on this, but it's going to be worth it because this client is committed at a high level. I'm here for them. They're here for me. But so you have to be rewarded in a way that it feels good. Because if you put in a $15,000 show and they only spend $1,500, you're going to have a little remorse there. That's where the hate, I won't say hate, but like, a little resentment can kick in, and you're not going to feel good about that. But on the flip side, let's say that this client was never in the market to spend $15,000, way beyond their means and even their desire. They always were going to be a $1,500 client. Now, if they spend $1,500 and they don't get their dreams met, they're going to be like, it's kind of like I spent $1,500 and all I got was this lousy t-shirt, I mean, they don't want to feel like that either. It has to be enough value for them that it feels good. So both sides have to be satisfied. And a way to achieve this, the way to understand, are we going down the right road together, is by pre-qualifying them through a commitment of money and time. So the way that you do that is you can structure yourself so that you have different entry points for different clients. We have 4 that we can let our clients through. We don't say all 4. We don't list it out like a menu, but through the process of discovery, I kind of know which way the client is going, and I can pitch, all right, I've got 2 great options. What do you think about this? And if they say no, I go, what do you think about that? And then I have another option for them. So having multiple options is the great way to help your client understand where things are going. For example, if my session fee, which this is true, my session fee is, I cost a pretty penny to work with. It's $69.90 with a $6,000 credit. So if clients are going to move forward with me, they need to spend $7,000 to get on my books. They can work with someone else in my business for a lower price, but not dramatically lower. $36.90 is our next session fee, $36.90 with a $3,000 credit. So in either way, they're going to get the idea, okay, am I committed at the highest level? Does it need to be Megan who's doing my photo shoot? And if the answer is no, I have a next great option for them. And if that answer is still no, I have a next great option for them. So you want to have different ways for clients to come in the door, and then they understand where the path is going. Now, let me ask you this. Would you agree that typically people will tend to triple what they initially invest?
I don't know. Well, you mean from session fee to product, or just?
Yes. So if they spent $500 on the front end, would you predict that they would spend $1,500 on the back end?
Minimum. Yeah.
Minimum. Easy, right? So
Minimum. Yeah.
if your session fee is higher, then people will tend to triple that. So wherever it is, I mean, just as a baseline, people will tend to triple. So you can go higher and it will push that commitment, but at least they know we're going down the right road together.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So there's some little finesse points here. And I think the good news is, I mean, you almost have the opposite problem of someone who's new in business. Someone who's new in business is on shaky ground because they're like, I don't know if I'm ready to make changes. I don't know. This is kind of scary and new. Am I ready to do all this? It's almost the same problem for someone who's been in business 20 years. Because when you're 20 years in business, you're kind of like, this has worked. Am I ready to turn this upside down? And it's those same fears coming up again. But I do think that the opportunity for you right now, as you're on the edge of a rebrand, new opportunities for your clients, this is the time to really dial in some of these details and get laser focused on how can I make new price opportunities for my clients and how can I add a service that matches that at the same time. So I think it's about getting a little uncomfortable like when you were starting and trying new things and being open to like new education and ideas too, because you've gone very far on your own here, but now it's time to kind of turbocharge it and do some new things too.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. I actually feel like I'm starting right from scratch. Like, I mean, thank goodness I'm comfortable with my skill level,
Yeah. And your skill level is amazing. I looked at your work. Yeah, you're fine. You're great.
Oh, thank you.
Oh my God, it's beautiful, beautiful work. Everywhere I looked, I was like, okay, you can do anything. Go for it.
Oh, you're so kind. Thank you. And I love the customer service, like being of service. That makes me really, really happy. And I just love the intimate connections with my clients. I love relationships. Like I feel like I've got everything. I'm just missing this key element and this shift. And there is like, a little bit of a shaky knee thing going, like, is this going to be received well? Am I going to be able to produce something, especially because I was niche down for so long? Is it going to be exciting? Am I going to be successful at this? Because I feel like now is my time.
I think it's going to be so invigorating. I don't think any of these fears that you're worried about are going to come to be. I think you're going to be like really energized with the idea of new creation, because that's what happens. I mean, part of that fear and anxiety that you're having, the flip side of that is the joy and excitement. I like the idea that excitement and fear are actually different sides of the same coin. So you're just going to like flip this into like the anxiety you're feeling is going to really quickly flip to joy and passion as you discover new things. Because I mean, discovery is joy.
For sure. And it's exciting. I'm flipping it. I'm flipping the script. It's exciting.
Yeah. Feel those trembles as like good butterfly energy, And I do think your clients will feel this too, because they now have a new opportunity and they can explore and discover on new ways. I mean, all the things that you found out about Boudoir, the way that you empower women, the way that you make them feel seen and worthy. This is the same thing that's going to happen in branding. They're going to be empowered, seen, and worthy. And so now they have a new door to walk through with you that's going to make them feel as great, maybe even more wonderful, because it's something new and fresh.
Right. Yes. Oh my
so
goodness.
I have zero fear for you, literally zero. I think that this is just, you got to flip that switch and say, it's go time. I'm going to start bringing people in. I'm going to start trying this. But the only little touch of fear I have is that I think you should really look to the foundations before you hit go, So like if you could dial in that pricing better, obviously we have workshops that can help you with that, but just like a bit more dialed in so that you're ready for the next evolution. And then it doesn't have to all come through trial and error, because that's how so many of us build our businesses. We take, what could be a year of work, we stretch out into a decade because we're like experimenting until we find the right solution. And you could instead just like, go for it.
For sure. I do recognize that, and I had to work really hard at, workflows and streamlining and automations and things like that. So I am familiar with how much that makes a difference in the business. Yeah. And so now I want to create some images so that I can create those workflows and that education for my clients, and
Yes.
to be able to, so it's
Yeah.
the the introducing the dream clients in, and getting some images that I can start creating those kinds of things with. And I think I have a couple of your templates as well to kind of work
perfect.
from. So
So and here's another thing. Don't feel like you have to wait to launch, because remember, these people you're going to gift sessions to, this is your portfolio build. This is that opportunity. And so by lowering that barrier to entry to the floor, like, I'm not going to charge you for the session fee. In fact, I'm going to gift that to you. And I'm going to gift you with X dollar image credit. There's really no reason for them to say no. I mean, what a tremendous value you're giving them with someone who they trust. And now they get to help you out. So it feels mutually beneficial. Like, oh, I'm helping my dear friend over here, and she's giving me this value. Yeah. This is winning for both of us. And then your images come from that. And I will tell you, when I've done portfolio build in this way with this gift card method, my sales average is really high. Like my first ever high school senior session, $6,500. And it was just because I said, I've never done seniors before, but I would love it if you would help me with this. Let me gift this for you. And of course, she loved it. And she took the image credit and applied it to buy more things that she loved. And we were both very happy. So that was good. So you can have big sales.
Are you including the hair and makeup? Like, because that's a cost out to, so you're including that as a generous credit or a gift to them as well for the experience.
Yeah, correct? And remember, you're handpicking these people, so the likelihood of them having a no sale is like almost nothing. Like if you're gifting people, it's either because you've chosen them because they've had great spends in the past, they've been extremely loyal, or they've been great referrers. So honestly, if it was a no sale, but it was to a great referrer, I would not even care if that was a no sale. I think that'd be fine, because it's like, I know I'm going to win through the connections. So no matter what, if this is $0 earned, it will have just been a marketing expense and you don't have to stress it. But I doubt it's going to be $0 earned. I bet you're going to make thousands of dollars per client, and then you'll be like, well, I'm really glad I sprung for the makeup, and it'll be fine.
Yeah.
It's like, it's fine.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
Okay. Amazing. Yeah. I'm really curious about, building the price guide. I need to really sit and figure out what that's going to look like, and create a simple list that they can just build up themselves, and and then just be quiet and take the money.
They're not take the money. They're not building it entirely on their own. You're building it with them, or even better, for them. You're building it for them based on what you've discovered will solve their problems. So I still want you in the role of trusted advisor and guide, and that is really what separates the truly master level salespeople from, the gimmick salespeople. Because if you just have a price list that's like a gimmick and people buy off of it, then they're going to find their way to a decent sale. But if you want to build the master level service and the master level sales, you need to be there in the driver's seat, guiding the client where they need to go.
Do you think that sales can be successful at the beginning if you're just showing them an online image of the product rather than having the hard actual product in the studio?
Yeah. In fact, that senior I told you about, I had no product to present to her. I had no samples. I had nothing. So I hadn't worked with seniors at all. And I hadn't had the product design that I have to this day. So what I did is I said, look, here's an idea of what I'm trying to create. And so I went to the vendor site. Obviously my preferred vendor doesn't mind if I use their materials to help sell their product. So I printed it out on cardstock, and I said, this is where I want this to go. And everything is about how you spin it and how you show people what's in it for them. So I didn't say like, hey, I've never done this before. Do you like it? I didn't do that.
Right.
I said, oh my God, I just found the most exciting product. You are going to be the first one to have this in your hands. If you love it as much as I do, check it out. Here's hot off the presses. This is the vision I'm going for. And then they're going to be like, wow. So you have to show them how excited you are, give them a little sneak peek at it, but you don't have to physically have it to put in their hands, not on day one.
Okay. I feel like that's been something that's been holding me back, going, well, I'm in a little bit of a catch-22. Like, do I just book one session and then print? And, and so that gives me a lot more, faith that that I can be as good with sales, because right now I have samples, right, of
Yeah.
boudoir, but I
Yeah.
don't have samples of other things, and trying to, make my studio approachable for all levels. So I'm having to take away some of the, the boudoir style, and so my walls are empty.
Oh, I know the feeling.
Yeah,
I know, because you don't want like a
I know.
60-year-old lawyer in there and you're like, don't mind that person's rear end, it's fine. Yeah.
Yes.
So you have to
I don't mind
to
them in
make
the
it.
albums or prints,
Yes.
but yeah.
This is why we say not suitable for work. You want it to look like this is very welcoming. You're welcome here. Everyone's here. So that's good. But I like that you're making the space neutral. It's very good. But yeah, I think the
Yeah.
good news here is that I don't think there's any reason to be afraid. I think you're in a very
Okay.
strong position. And anything that you see as something holding you back, I think it can be turned around. I think it, like, don't worry about, oh, am I
Okay.
giving away hair? Yeah, you're giving away hair and makeup because it's going to make them love the experience. Oh, I don't have product. Don't worry that you don't have product. Your passion is going to sell it. So anything that feels like an obstacle can probably be turned in a different direction if you just think about it the right way.
Because I haven't actually opened my doors. I've been secretly working in the downtown area. I haven't even
Okay,
put my proper signage out yet.
cool.
There is like a downtown business association that I'm a part
Hmm.
of, and that I've already created a women in networking group down here, and I've done a few things with that. But
Nice.
what would you do? Like if you were me and you were here, what would be the first thing that you would do to create more branding opportunities for some of the businesses in the downtown? Would you approach specific businesses, or would you do like something just offering through the business association? They can like network, like to put it out to everybody as a like a. So it feels so cold, right? Like, oh,
Yeah.
Crystal's doing this offer or whatever. So
Yeah.
how would you approach it?
I think the best thing you can do is lean into relationships because what do we say in business? It's not what you know, it's who you know.
It's who you know,
It's
right?
who you know. And even better, it's who knows you. That's even better. So you don't want to just put it out there as like, oh, it's a newsletter in the chamber. No, you need it to be like, I thought of you because, I would really love to work with
Mhm.
you. Here's why. So, let's say that, and really make your dream list. Like I start off day one, I was like, wow, my business is really about image and I really want to help women feel beautiful. And so I was like, who would be a great alliance for me would be a cosmetic surgeon. So day one, I was like, okay, I would love to have a relationship with a cosmetic surgeon and a med spa. That would be perfect. And maybe a dermatologist, someone like that. So I just put that in my brain. And then every time I would be out networking, I would just look for those connections to unfold. And by the end of the year, I could count on my hand, oh, wow, this person is the wife of a cosmetic surgeon. That person works for the Glossy magazine and does all the ads for everybody. This person owns this med spa. And, before you knew it, I knew 6 people from those professions. And I personally invited them in. I said, I would love to work with a business owner like you. Come and try this experience. Come and see what you think about it. And they became my evangelists and they opened a lot of doors for me. But it started through those knowing who I was looking for, having that crystal clear in my mind, and then inviting them in, giving them an incentive to do so, an incentive like, hey, come and try this, come and try this and get some great images. A great offer will take you a long way, but it has to come with that personal relationship that you know what they're going to value.
For sure. And so are you offering them like a branding shoot, or are you doing branding and family,
I'm
or
giving them whatever is valuable for
whatever they want?
them. Whatever
Gotcha.
is valuable for
Gotcha.
them. So a good gauge for how is my networking going is to just ask yourself as a thought experiment, if I were to buy a coffee table book for this person, what would it be? And I think that's such an interesting thought experiment because if you know someone well enough to know what they would display on their coffee table, you know them. Like, the fact that you said, oh,
Mhm.
I photographed this woman with her horse. Okay, that shows me that there's a relationship and there's an understanding of who she is and what she values. And so if you know her book would be a book of horses, then you're going to be like, I would love to try a glamour equestrian shoot, and you are the perfect person for this.
Mhm.
So you have to know them
Gotcha.
that well that you know what they're going to value. Or another one would be, oh my gosh, I love that you and your husband are planning a 20th anniversary in Greece. That is so amazing. You know what else would be amazing? You guys need photos of each other. I love all the selfies you're taking, but when are you going to do a real portrait session? I need a couple for my portfolio. you guys need to celebrate this 20th anniversary. Come in and do a shoot with me. Let's work on this together.
I
So
love
it's
it.
that
Yeah.
level of knowing and understanding. It is so much different than a spray and pray. Okay, the Greater Fort Myers Chamber of Commerce has a coupon that you can clip. It's nothing like that. It's like, I thought of you because, and I want to do this with you. Here's why.
And obviously, you're preparing the clients for what the post costs will be, like for images.
Well, of
How do you
course.
get
I mean, I do full
yeah,
and complete price transparency through discovery call, through consultation, through all of those things.
yeah.
But I also just want you to think about the way that I express those ideas. You need to
Mhm.
do glamour equestrian, or oh my gosh, this is a once in a lifetime bucket list photo shoot for your anniversary. When you present it this way, they're going to know it's expensive, right?
Mhm.
Because you've
Yes.
shown them, I understand what you value. And when it's that level
Mhm.
of you understand what they value, they're going to know this is going to be expensive, but worth it. And hey, they don't have to pay all of it because they get to try before they buy. That's the beauty of the gift card.
Yes. And are you just giving them like credit, or is it like a tangible gift card that you're handing over
It
to
does
them?
not have to be a tangible gift card. You can just say, I have that credit on file for you. I really like the idea of I have the credit on file because, like, think of it this way. If I give you a physical something, you're going to stick it in your purse and then you're going to get home and it's going to go in the junk drawer. And then 6 months later, you're going to figure out you left it there and
Mhm.
it's all done. The idea is gone. But if I say, I have that credit on file for you, you are not the keeper of that physical doodad. I am now the keeper of it. I have that credit on file for you. So now that gives me permission to follow up with you in 30 days and say, hey, remember that credit I have on file for you? That's still there for you for the next 30 days. Do you want to take advantage of that?
Mhm.
So you have more
Excuse
power
me.
when you are saying credit on file, but part of that power comes with the responsibility to reconnect. Like, don't let it sit in a digital junk drawer. Reconnect.
Absolutely. Yeah. I love it.
Yes, ma'am. All right. Well,
It's
now it's my absolute obligation to sell you Level Up. And I'll tell you why. Because basically, everything we've been talking about is what you need. You need the different avenues into different session fees. You need to have the price structure of the a la carte, the sneaky packages, the ability to guide your clients through. And now we've hit on the last and final one. I didn't bring these things up, by the way, you did. The gift card idea. The gift card is totally in there, the script, everything else. So, like, best $1,000 you've ever spent, your next sale, I want to hear that it's $10,000. And I am not going to be surprised when it is, because I think with all your experience and all the passion that's underlying this new transition for your business, I mean, it's going to be just like a minute before you have a $10,000 sale. Like, just use this stuff and it will work.
oh, I would very much appreciate that $10,000 sale over and
Yes,
over and over
you
again. Yes,
would.
please.
Yes,
Yeah.
please. More of that. But this is great. I
Uh-huh.
love this business. I think it's going to really thrive. And now you can look forward to the next couple decades with a new transition into giving more, receiving more, and being there for your clients at whatever is valuable for them.
Absolutely. Is this, oh yeah, this is going to be on the podcast, so I can
Yeah.
be able to listen to it over and over again. I
You
feel
can
like
listen to it a
I
million
need to
times.
really absorb it. I've been writing notes, and then I'm like,
I
this,
too am
and
writing
it
notes.
just,
Yeah, no,
right?
that's I've learned this so much lately because right now I'm learning Italian, and you think, oh, well, if I listen to 5 volumes of Pimsleur with 30 lessons, I should be good. No, I'm now listening to all of them again. So I think, like, the best thing we can do as anyone who's learning a new skill, and especially if you're learning high level skills, listen again and again and again. Every time you're going to absorb it differently, every time you're going to hear a new angle, and you're going to keep getting better and better. So what I do is I prioritize whatever I'm trying to learn. I spend minimum 20 minutes a day. I have been reading 20 minutes a day since I was 17 years old. I'm now adding on an hour of Italian a day. So, anything that you value, spend time with it and do repetition with it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's really important. In the level up, is there parts on it on mindset? I feel like
Yes.
there's some tricky mindset goblins that come up every once in a while, and I have to kind of shake it out. And I do have my own sort of ways of doing it, but I think that that's a huge part of like something that I'm coming up against. I have these mental blocks, and I think it's preventing me from actually finding that success within my career. And I think that it's held me back for quite a long time. And I've made some really, really big other changes in my life recently. So it's all coming to head. And this is why I feel like it's brand new. Like I want it to feel brand new.
Yeah, that's a good thing. So you're going to hear me say this a million times. Success comes down to method, mindset, and then magic you get for free. Like the magic is just all of a sudden the right door opens, the right person wants to work with you, they're spreading your name around. That's the magic. And the magic comes when you've done the first two correctly. So what you need to work on for the duration of your career is you need to make sure you have this balance of the right mindset and the right method. So these two things are going to be your powerhouse together. So absolutely every workshop I have has mindset in it. And why is that? Because it's what I need. Like I need the mindset refreshers. Yeah. That's why I spend 20 minutes a day reading, because I need to constantly nurture that sense of possibility and that sense of discovery. And so, you have to constantly work on mindset, and everything is going to be incorporated into those programs, because you can't have the one without the other. It can't just be technique. Right. It has to be technique plus understanding in your heart. Yes, exactly. Oh my goodness, this has been amazing. I cannot thank you enough for your time and your wisdom. And well, we better stay in touch, because I think your business has, I didn't even ask you about your numbers, but I wrote down 500,000 right now on my notepad, and I want to see you at that $500,000 business, because you have all the hallmarks of someone who can and should achieve that. So it's just like method, mindset, and you will be there. Thank you. That is actually my goal. Yeah, yay! We'll both write that down. 500. Done. I'm doing it right now. Done. All right. Well, good luck. Thank you again. You got it. Talk to you later. Okay, bye. Bye. Want to fix your biz? If you're a professional photographer or aspiring pro, you need to join me in the best business group on the internet. Rise to the Top with Megan DiPiero. Ask your business question in the group, and you might just be my next podcast guest. Join now at rttt.life.